Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. Question, is your DNA changing? Now, before we go any further, there are some of you who follow these channels that will say that sounds a lot like a channel you've given before. I want to clarify and quantify some of the things that we discuss regarding DNA. There isn't really a confusion, it's just so different that I want to again tell you some things you need to know. 1 year ago, I gave you 2 channels within 2 months regarding DNA, and one was the question, can you change your own DNA? The other one was the question, is DNA evolving? Now, this one is a different idea. Is it possible that DNA is changing by itself? So let's be clear. When scientists look at your DNA, they see no changes. In fact, one of the things that they do see, which is very interesting, is that in 200,000 years, there really has been no evolutionary processes to notice in the human being. Based on that which they have been able to extract from those 200,000 years ago and today, you'll find that there has been no change. So when I ask, is there change happening, it has to be in another part, you would say, of the DNA process, and it is. And we have spoken very often about the very idea that perhaps you have 24 chromosomes in your DNA and not 23 pairs. Now let's just stop for a moment and take a look at something else that's been very interesting. When scientists take a look at DNA, and for almost all of the history of the ability to look at DNA, it's been puzzling. There is an acknowledgement that it is not fully understood. In fact, for many years, 90% of DNA was not even categorizable. Is that you can't catalog it. It was junk. It didn't fall into any kind of categories. It didn't seem to be the chemistry they expected. You realize that DNA is responsible for all of the genes in your body. The chromosomes have the chemistry that create those genes. So suddenly, that 90% that was junk or not describable, in 2012, it became then discovered, you would say, chemistry. And what they discovered was that it wasn't the chemistry they expected. In fact, it didn't have the patterns of chemistry at all. Now, this is why it was not really discoverable, you'd say, by scientists looking for the wrong thing. There are some who will say the ones who actually discovered the patterns were linguists. There was a language pattern in the junk. Today, they know what the junk is, kind of. They're still not able to read the pages in the language of the junk, but they now realize that it doesn't make genes. It's not a chemistry part of DNA as much as it is a manual part of DNA. You might say it's the instruction sets, or that which is the chromosomes that make all the genes. So the question again is your DNA changing? If the DNA started changing in that which they used to call the junk, do you think they'd see it? Question number 1. Number 2, that elusive, multidimensional 24th set of chromosomes that we have talked about, that you have, those 2 that are the 24th pair, that are not visible under the microscope, are they changing on their own? So here's the answer I want to give you. And it's not an answer that's necessarily one that's easy to understand or that you really have to know, except that part of the issue and the plan, you might say, of all of humanity really revolves around this. The shift that you are in has many new energies. If you'll back up and look at the channels that we have given you, one of my favorites is this. The veil is lifting. And that veil, you might say, is the amount of spirituality that you can be aware of, observe, and absorb. As the veil lifts, you start to see things you could not see before. You start to be aware of things you were not aware of before. But the best part is that there is a portion of this awareness which is active. That is, suddenly you're able to do things you were not able to before. Here is the question. Do you think that the lifting of the veil might change your biology, might change the DNA? And this is for anyone on the planet, this question, not just for old souls. Because you do understand that the shift affects everyone. Old souls are the leaders. They're the way showers. They're the lighthouses. But humanity in general is being exposed to new awarenesses. The veil lifts for all. It's just that some of you will see it, some of you will not. Many will be afraid of it. As the veil lifts, it just means you feel change. To the light worker, you recognize it. And you say, I can use these new tools. I can communicate better with my soul energy. I can do these and this and this. But in general, it's always been the same. Humans have free choice to do whatever it is that they can be aware of that they wish to do. That's the free choice. So there will be many in an old energy who have a lifting veil. They don't even know there's a veil. They're so unaware of light. And that is their choice, to stay in an old energy, to shut the valves, you might say, that pour in the light, and stay where they are. That's the free choice. But in general, the question is, yet again, is it possible that your DNA is changing by itself because the veil is lifting? Answer, not the chemistry parts that you can measure. The parts that are changing are in the junk, you might say, and also in that 24th pair of chromosomes. I want you to back up and remember some other things that we have given you. Where is the spiritual aspect of you? Is it totally esoteric? Is it contained in the energy, in that which is your auric field? Or maybe it's the energy in your Merkabah? There are many who say, yes, that's where the soul is, and that's where all the spiritual awareness also emanates from. It's not that simple. We have told you many times that your Akashic record, that is the record of past lives and the energies that reside there, are all in your DNA. So you realize it cannot all be esoteric. What you have called karma in the past also is recorded in your DNA. It's based on that which is your past Akashic record. The things that you have, for instance, lives that you've lived and lessons that you are working with that would create karma, that's in your DNA. That's a record. So it's not necessarily apart from that which you consider your auric field, your Merkabah, or even your soul energy. It's there. Chemistry is included. It's there in certain ways that are etched in you, that you carry, that are also etched esoterically, but physically within your DNA. The DNA actually plays a very large part in that which is your awakening. Now, there are some who don't want to know that because they'll ask questions about what happens if you're disabled, what happens if this or that happens with your DNA. And I will tell you this, stop it. There is an alliance, dear ones, of love that encompasses your soul energy, your Merkabah, your auric fields, and all the chemistry in every cell of your body. And that's going to work no matter what kind of disable you have, any kind of disabling you have that is physical. That is going to continue to work. It's the love connection. But I am here to tell you that your spirituality is a full body experience. It is not apart from you. Let me tell you why that is so important for you to understand. Because if I am telling you something that is absolutely true, that means your spiritual component of your body, that which you count on for your spiritual awakening, is a full body experience and involves your chemistry as well as that which is your Merkabah and your soul energy. That means that healing yourself is a lot easier than you thought. DNA in you, in every single human, is changing. Not the chemistry, part that you can measure today with your microscopes and all of those things that you use to measure, but it's in the manual, the junk that you never understood until 2012, and it's also present in that 24th chromosome pair. Those are the things that are changing now for all humanity. And that means there's a chance to see them for everyone. Would it be any different? Would you plan that any different? Would you then just salt a few and hope they awaken because they're old souls? Or would you give humanity a chance to join the party here? That's the message of today. It is changing. Because DNA is part of that which carries your spiritual component of life. It truly is, especially that 24th pair, which is starting to awaken now as the veil thins. And some of you, perhaps you're just tuning in to this kind of a message, this kind of channel. Some of you are starting to ask, is there something bigger that I've missed? What if it was love? What if it was compassion, kindness? What if it's a non-judging creator? All of these things I have been giving you for 36 years because I, Kryon, am in love with humanity. And so it is. If you enjoyed this channeling, you might also enjoy the weekly program It Came From, Wednesdays with Kryon, a heartfelt 90-minute program with more of what you've just experienced. Why not join us?